let's close things out on this episode, and let's close things out on the conference with last year's champion, the Arizona State Sun Devils. Again, won in 2024 out of nowhere. I've said it several times this week. Picked 16th. That caused the Big 12 to make a policy where the media doesn't get to vote on conference order of finish anymore, which I think is just really funny and honestly kind of dumb by the Big 12 because you're robbing yourself of a really cool story every year by not doing that. So whatever.
Sure.
They decided that that's what they needed to do. It is what it is. It's just funny. Arizona State, they're number one last year. They've come in ranked number one preseason. This is a team that lost their most recognizable player in Cam Skattebo. He was a meme in and of himself, just with the passion that he played with on the field and the performances that he put in down the stretch, just putting the team on his back multiple times last year. But other than that, man, they're pretty much intact on both sides of the ball, and they've got a feisty young quarterback in Sam Levitt coming back to lead things for another year.
Yeah, and this offense is loaded as well. A lot of people, I'm sure, I think the reason why the over-under is at 8.5, and it looks like the under-bettors have that right now. Again, you lose kind of the public face of the team and the meme-worthy guy, and yeah, the football casuals are willing to bet against them. I'm obviously not taking Arizona State to reach the Big 12 championship game, but that does not mean I'm selling the Sun Devils whatsoever. Sam Levitt is a bona fide star at quarterback. He's a gamer. He's a dual threat guy, and he's a guy that is going to figure it out, right? I mean, he helped architect that comeback against Texas in the Sugar Bowl, which, between him and Skattebo, like, it felt like they were left for dead. It felt like Texas was going to run away with it. And they collectively just kind of decided, nope, we're going to give this one more effort. And, they're a botched pass interference call away from maybe winning that game outright. The running back room is where a lot of the questions are obviously going to center. But you look at who they've got still on the roster. Kyson Brown and Raleek Brown are the two returners. I think that's certainly a great starting point to replace the production from Cam Skattebo. They're more athletic. They're going to be more of the shifty type than the run through you. But then they get Kanye Udo, who transfers over from Army, and he's going to bring that thunder element that I think Arizona State is going to want. So really a three-headed monster in the backfield behind Sam Levitt. And oh, by the way, this wide receiver core that caught almost 3,000 yards worth of passes from Levitt last year, it's even deeper this season, man. I mean, they've got Jordan Tyson, who led the team in receptions, coming back. He's healthy. But then you get Malik McClain and Jalen Moss to add to this team. Specifically, Moss had over 100 receptions with Fresno State last year for almost 1,300 yards. I mean, this offense is going to be a boatload of fun to watch once again. I have no real questions about the Sun Devils' ceiling when it comes to scoring points. They were top 30 in the country last year, almost 33 points a game. That honestly might even go up this season.
The defense was really good against the run. Like so many in the Big 12, they struggled a little bit against the pass. Who doesn't in the Big 12? It's fine.
Whomst among us?
Whomst among us doesn't struggle against the pass in the Big 12. But same song, other verse, right? They bring back a ton of production on the defensive side of the ball as well. Really excited to see what they can do. With a target on their back, honestly. I think that's really my biggest question for Arizona State. They came out of nowhere last year. Obviously, they had a hot start, but lost to Texas Tech, lost to Cincinnati early, and then kind of went on a magical run through the back half of their schedule, knocking off Kansas State, BYU, and Iowa State, 3 ranked teams down the back half. But if you remember last year, Mitch, we weren't really – and if you have guys you want to jump in and talk about on defensive side of the ball, feel free to do that. But my thought with Arizona State is I am interested to see how they do with a target on their back. Because even to the point where we were in like week 12 last year, and we were kind of like, oh, yeah, Arizona State, I guess they could make the Big 12 title game. Cool. They have to win a couple games. We don't think they'll win, but they're still alive. Great. That's good for them. But they really came on strong at the end of the year at the right time and put it all together and found a magical run, similar to what Baylor we were talking about last year, but didn't have the, target on their back like they will this year as the reigning champions.
Yeah. They lost to Texas in the Peach Bowl. I want to correct myself there before the YouTube comments get flooded. Yeah, I think the defense returns almost everybody from last year. I mean, it's a deep team on both sides of the ball. I like what they bring back in the secondary specifically. I think there's no reason why you couldn't expect Arizona State to figure it out a little bit more on that end. I love Xavier Alford, free safety, who I believe started his career at Texas and then transferred out to Tempe, Houston area kid. They've got a lot of talent. The linebackers are solid. They've got Prince Dorba, another Texas transfer coming off the edge. Clayton Smith is back at 6'5", 250 off the edge. So, man, the only question that I have is similar to what you alluded to. We never really considered Arizona State to be the fully operational Death Star that they were against Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game, and the hype that then carried into the Peach Bowl, because we didn't really see it in the regular season. Yes, they were a good team. They found a way to get wins. They won some close games down the stretch, but very rarely was there a game that you thought they played a complete game, they executed across the board, and this is your conference champion in waiting, right? I mean, they almost lost to Texas State early on in the season. That was as nail-biting of a game as you could ask for, and that was a game that we were looking forward to early in the season because we thought, well, Arizona State, maybe next year, maybe the year after that, but right now, oh boy, they're ripe for the plucking going on the road to San Marcos. And it felt like that kind of air and that kind of expectation just permeated the season, right? Where Arizona State was defying expectations. Oh, you don't think we can win this game? Well, we'll show you. And outside of the Jeff Sims game against Cincinnati, I really felt like they rose to that challenge ultimately well enough. They found a way to win those games. To your point about playing with a target on your back, you are now going to get everybody's best shot. You're not taking anybody by surprise. And while I think experience on both sides of the ball certainly helps with that, it's not the end all be all. So for me, the biggest question that I'm looking forward to this year against a team like Mississippi State that, listen, State's going to do nothing probably in the SEC. You're going to have the talent advantage, I think, as Arizona State. Can you put together a complete showing on the road? Can you destroy Texas State at home, a team that's going to have a lot of fun pieces, but probably not as good of a team as what we saw? Well, I don't want to say not as good as last year because I think they could win the Sun Belt this year, but you know what I mean. They're clearly a step below in the caliber of competition. We might have expected Texas State to pull off a fun upset last year. I don't necessarily know that anybody's going to expect that this year. So can you go on the road to Waco and win an early game, a big game against another contender? Those are the questions that I'm very excited to watch. I think Arizona State certainly has the pieces and the ingredients to go win those. They've just got to go do it.
Yeah, I think put simply, they put themselves a year ahead of schedule last year.
Definitely.
And they did it on the backs of just being gritty, tougher than the other team, and winning a lot of close games. They were 6-1 in one possession games in the regular season. That tends to flip most years, but I think this is the team that has the identity. I think Kenny Dillingham is doing a great job of instilling that identity of being a tough, gritty, hard out team in this program. So who's to say that they can't do that again? Schedule is tougher this year. You mentioned a couple of the games. They don't miss a lot of the fellow contenders at Baylor, at Utah, at Iowa State. They also get TCU at home, Texas Tech at home. So they're playing everybody. It's a who's who in the Big 12 on this schedule. The only one that they really miss, I guess, is Kansas State. But yeah, I mean, the difference to me between Arizona State and maybe a team that was kind of a hot team a few years ago in the Big 12 and then a flash in the pan, like maybe a TCU in 2023 or a Baylor in 2021, like you mentioned earlier, the continuity is just crazy. Like it is not going to be, it's going to be a rare thing in this conference, especially to see a team that jumps ahead of schedule and holds on to all of that talent because they commit to them and sets themselves up for another run the next year.
It's so funny looking at the betting odds because their over under is 8.5. Again, the under bettors have it. It's like anybody's afraid to bet.
Everybody's hedging. Over. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody is afraid to pick a side, to make a prediction. And that's what makes this conference so fun and entertaining on a week to week basis is truly 16 can beat one on any given Saturday. And I'm looking forward to it. I think I think if you're just looking at the roster and the continuity, all of the sum of all the parts, Arizona State probably is a top 2 team in the conference, top 3 at the very worst. And I think the Jimmies and Joes ranked them number 1 in this conference for a reason. You've got your quarterback coming back, your weapons are better on the outside, and your defense stays intact. Like those are the ingredients to win another conference championship and be able to go and win a playoff game. So certainly cannot fault anybody for buying into Dillingham and the Sun Devils.